Emmanuel Macron has been caught telling Joe Biden that their Middle Eastern allies cannot increase oil production as the EU tries to replace Russian crude that it has vowed to ban by the end of the year. The French president, speaking to his U.S. counterpart on the sidelines of the G7 summit in Germany on Monday evening, warned the UAE and Saudi Arabia are close to capacity and are unable to make up the shortfall. His words will raise fears that shortages which have led to high petrol and energy costs may be here to stay, and may get worse as Europe's ban on most Russian oil products kicks in by the end of the year, with gas sanctions to follow. Macron may have been pressing Biden to increase U.S. output, something he has been reluctant to do under pressure from environmental groups, as a way to relieve the shortage. However, it is unclear from the short audio clip which was cut off when U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan cut across the two men to suggest they continue the conversation inside due to nearby cameras. In the footage, Macron can be heard saying "I had a call with MBZ," which is shorthand for UAE leader Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan. He told me two things, the French president continued. I'm at a maximum production capacity. This is what he claims. And then he said, the Saudis can increase by 150,000 barrels per day. Maybe a little bit more, but they don't have huge capacities before 6 months' time. Sullivan then interrupted the two men, telling them, careful. Maybe we should just step inside, because of the cameras. Europe is looking for ways to replace some 2 million barrels of oil that it buys per day from Russia, as the continent sanctions Putin's regime over the war in Ukraine. It comes after Ursula von der Leyen, the EU commissioner, announced earlier this month that the bloc will ban 90% of Russian oil imports by the year-end. All seagoing imports of Russian oil and petroleum products will be cut off, with only a partial exemption for oil coming via pipeline. The concession ensured the support of countries such as Hungary, Slovakia and the Czech Republic, which are heavily dependent on imports. Import bans have been designed as a way to punish Putin for invading Ukraine and of depriving him of money he needs to fund his war effort. But they are also helping to drive up prices and exacerbate inflation, which is hampering economies, particularly in the West. Biden, who has already released some oil from U.S. strategic reserves as a stopgap measure, had been hoping to get Saudi Arabia and the UAE to ramp up their own production as a way of calming the market. But, if Macron's words are to be believed, then it seems neither country is going to be able to step up and fill the gap. Unless the US is willing to step up its own production, then that raises the prospect of further price hikes and even potential energy shortages come winter when energy demand soars. A A statement from the UAE's top energy official late on Monday said that his country is producing its assigned OPEC Plus quota of 3.168 million barrels per day, BPD. In light of recent media reports, I would like to clarify that the UAE is producing near to our maximum production capacity based on its current OPEC Plus production baseline, said Energy Minister Suhail bin Mohammed Al Mazrouei. World oil prices have been steadily rising in recent months due to a shortage of supply and rebound in demand from the worst of the coronavirus epidemic. Prices have risen further since Moscow invaded Ukraine in late February. On Monday, benchmark crude rose after Reuters reported Macron's comments. Brent oil prices rose 1.7% to above $115 per barrel as the West seeks ways to reduce Russian oil imports to punish Moscow. Saudi Arabia is producing 10.5 million BPD and has a nameplate capacity of 12.0 million 12.5 million BPD, which in theory shall allow it to raise production by 2 million. The UAE is producing some 3 million BPD, has capacity of 3.4 million and has been working on raising it to 4 million BPD. Europe is looking for ways to replace as much as 2 million BPD of Russian crude and some 2 million BPD of refined products it had been importing from Moscow before the Ukraine war.